Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at it's Chronicles of Elyria. I haven't covered it on this channel before, but due to recent affairs, I feel the need to very much cover this topic. Especially just the recent affairs. I will be doing a deeper look at this at some point down the line, but for today, we're just going to be taking a look at their recent events. Because this is a studio that took $8 million, disappeared into the wind after showing us 4 different products that were all apparently the same thing, yet none of them looked anything like the original game. Now, I'll say this on the record. I believe that there was never even a game in the beginning. In any capacity, there was no game. The signs were there from the beginning. Shoddily thrown together assets for trailers that were so hardcore focused on a single scene that poly limits and stuff doesn't even matter. There was just no game in any capacity. Nothing was ever multiplayer, which means that any of the stuff that they did show off was useless. It meant nothing. But red flags aside, let's have a look at what they've done recently. And their recent issues set a very dangerous precedent for all crowdfunded games, essentially. But it also shows that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So, recently, they claimed that their studio had run out of money and they were going to close, and that they had closed down. They'd sacked everybody, they'd let them all go, and they'd shut door. Now, the very next day, after they heard that there was a class action lawsuit being launched against them, we were just joking, we never shut down, they basically doubled back on everything that they just said, erased it from the internet, and pretended they'd never said it. Well, the internet is forever, so, that's always going to be there. Now, the interesting part about this is that they said, well, we will release a game. It's going to be Kingdoms of Elyria, though, not Chronicles of Elyria. And once again, it's going to be absolutely nothing like the game that was promised. And it doesn't even pave the way to a release of that game. So the backers got an email saying that they were going to get a download link to play said game. They've spent 3 months showing off this game month by month. And honestly, it's just another jumble of marketplace assets and not really any sort of competent programming. In fact, I believe that he was making the game by himself at this point, which is bizarre. So the game looks like absolute garbage. You've got animals that can't walk around because they're stuck in the ground. It's bizarre. But to play this game, you have to agree to a terms of service, or a EULA. And this is where it gets incredibly interesting, because their terms of service essentially makes you agree to give up all rights to be angry at this game. It's insane. They have a clause in there for an agreement to arbitrate. Now, I'm not going to go through the wording of this, because it's all very hurdy-wordy and doesn't really translate in plain English to what you think it means. Arbitration means you agree to not take this to court. If you agree to arbitrate, it means that Soulbound Studios, the creators of Kingdoms or Chronicles of Elyria, get to choose someone to arbitrate, to be a middleman and to settle this agreement, which is stupid, to say the least, because they get to pick them. But what this means is that you go through them. Any dispute will be solved out of court by them. And when agreeing to this, it's basically agreeing that you will not take it to court after arbitration has settled. This is stupid on so many reasons. It's not unheard of. Many companies do this. But in this sense, this is showing that they know that if this goes to court, they're fucked. They've been asking to prove legitimacy on this for the last year and a half, and they can't. Or they at least refuse to, which to me says that they can't. It looks to me like we're going to see more and more scam games try and pull this as an exit strategy. Because well, it works. I already know of many people who've agreed to this just so that they could take the game and laugh at it. They've just given up all rights to get their money back and be part of a class action lawsuit by doing this. And they're like, oh yeah, but, you know, we get to laugh at the game. And, well, true, but Caspian's now laughing because you can't get your money back. You can't be part of a class action lawsuit. Not to mention, this game's also under an NDA. Because, for all intents and purposes, it's not even a game. It's not even a demo. The final form of this that was shown off had a clothing system that was nothing but basically a morph suit with an alpha texture splitting the top from the bottom and swapping the materials on it. There is no texturing done on this. The fact that anyone looks at this and thinks, oh, well, at least they tried, is kind of just offensive to any game developer. And this Caspian managed to show off 40 minutes of gameplay that wasn't even really gameplay. It was just 10-minute sections of him explaining how to click a tree and stuff. He really dragged it out because there's nothing to do in it. And then this guy's showing off a game where he's like, oh, and we've got the stats page, but stats don't work yet, but they will be at some point down the line. Not any of the basic functions of this game are working. This has been thrown together in a month. Like, I promise you that. This isn't here to finally deliver something to the customers. This is purely here as a meat shield for use in court. Or for use in arbitration. While this all sounds horrible, and it is, in this case, it is, this shows that scam games are starting to be taken seriously. They are going to court. They are having class action lawsuits launched against them. This is a very promising sign. Because for the likes of Dreamworld and Earth 2, and this, you know, the new game that I also plan to cover, Ruler of the Sea, this is a very good sign. Because it means that this can happen to them as well. They're all promising things that they're not delivering on. And it's not out of, oh, we were unable to deliver on it. It's mostly out of they don't want to deliver on it because it was just a clause to try and drag you in to the game. Drag you into buying it. They don't actually want to provide it. Because why provide it when you could just not? Well, now that Battlefield's kind of changed the landscape a little bit. Because now people are doing things about it. And I see very soon something will crop up where there is a special group of people that you take your cases to specifically for games and Kickstarters. I genuinely see this sort of thing happening. This happened way back with H3H3 and the YouTube false copyright striking and claiming system. They put together a group of people that basically covered the costs of those cases and helped launch those cases. I see something similar happening in the gaming industry soon because it's currently rampant with scams. Like it's really bad right now on Kickstarter. You can scroll and every other page you will find at least one game that you look at and you know is a scam because they've either stolen everything from an existing game, they've either used footage from an existing game, or the wording is just red flag city. You know, they're promising the world for $20. Today's video wasn't going to be a long one. It's just one that I felt needed to be made as a little bit of information. It's not my usual video, and I don't normally follow Chronicles of Elyria. And I don't normally cover Chronicles of Elyria. But I felt it necessary in this case. Because this is a precedent that is being... If this is a precedent that is truly going to be set in stone and allowed and accepted, this is relevant to any game and what they may attempt to do. As always, ladies and gentlemen, a massive thank you to our patrons. Today we're having a bit more of a chill day. I'm going to be live over on Twitch right now, and we're going to be just playing some games and hanging out, having a chill and a chat, and just having a bit of a wind down to this crazy week. So if you are watching this as it premieres, hop over, say hi, and come play some games.